Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Conscious Conversation sponsored by the House of H. I am Juno, your host. Today's guest, we have Mal coming in. Mal, how are you doing today? Did I freeze? Oh, no.
Good and just following. Oh, I think we glitched a little there.
We did. Hold on one second. I'm actually going to switch us to. No,
All right.
we are having technical difficulties this morning.
Yeah,
Okay, we're going to try this one more time.
sure.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Conscious Conversation. I'm Juno. This conversation is sponsored by the House of H. Today's guest is Mal. I'm leaving that in, by the way. So, Mal, please introduce yourself.
Hi. I am Mark Angelo Lyons, professional will intuitive, president of Drawing the Circle production since 1998, author of a bunch of books, Patreon, doing a lot of stuff. I'm the Archangel of Lions, Mark Angelo Lyons, but you can just call me Mal. And enjoying my day so far. Very much enjoying and very happy to be here. You're one of these people that I've known for years now and have yet to meet face to face at the same time and place. So this is a delight, and we're having a lot of fun today. Yeah.
I know it's funny because, like, and I said this to you, I think, the other day, where, like, we haven't been in physical space together yet, but I feel so much like I've known you forever that it also doesn't occur to me unless it's like brought up to me that that's the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I
okay. Welcome, Mal. I usually give people a chance to introduce themselves, but you've done such a beautiful job. Um, I'm
uh,
I'm just gonna roll into the first question of um, when you grew up as a queer person growing up in the world, what was your religious belief structure that you were brought up in, and how did that not like necessarily evolve over time, but like as you discovered or related more to your queerness, how did that act as a foil to whatever belief structure you were brought up in?
okay, we have time for this because this is the story. This is
Yeah, yeah,
great.
yeah.
I'm from Long Island. My father's side of the family, Irish Catholic. My mother's side of the family, Roman Catholic, like Italian, Sicilian, like pretty heavy duty. I went to more funerals as a kid than I did as an adult, because you had to bring the kids with you for some reason. Hungerford and Clark in Freeport, Long Island. I mean, flashback, Chigger McChiggerson. But I also had to go through confraternity. Do you remember confraternity, where you had to go to somebody's house and then they talk about, the Bible and stuff like that? Maybe they didn't
Hmm.
have that in New Jersey, but they definitely had that on Long
I
Island.
mean, I went to CCD, which is similar to that, but it was like at the church.
Yeah, no, this was in different people's like houses, like the parents of the kids I went to school with. So, they're telling us all this stuff, right? And I'll never, ever, ever forget. I mean, I must have been in maybe second or third grade, and about, you know, um, let ye who is without sin cast the first stone. Because I knew that one. Like, so
Yeah.
I was absorbing it, but then, the teacher, which was a kid's mother, said, well, that's Mary Magdalene he's talking about. I'm like, I know, she was a prostitute. Right? So there was something in my soul that was like, don't you dare shame anybody in this right now, because Jesus, Yeshua, call him what you want, Josh, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Joe, essentially, right? He was all about love. And I just knew pretty early on that all of this hellfire and damn did not sit right with me. This is not about love. I mean, in a very, very child's language.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I went so I went through my first communion, as one does. Then I went to my first confession, but I didn't know what to confess to because I was a little kid. So
Did they tell you to lie
I
too?
told the priest, No, no, what I said, well, I said, well, I've lied. Like in that moment, like I was sitting
Mhm.
there like, I don't know what to do. And I got a half hour conversation about how wrong it is to lie. Now, in retrospect, you look at the stuff the church has done, it's just like, oh, okay, let's talk about lying, folks. Let you who is without sin cast the first stone. So uh, insisted that I get confirmed in the church. So confirmation, that's the next one, right? You go
Yeah.
through the things, I forget what they're called, the
Sacraments.
sacraments, right? So I did it just so I could have the party, right? Because I wanted a party. I got a piece of jewelry out of it. And right after that, I danced my own dedication to the gods. I became a witch at like age 12, something crazy like that, maybe 14. So, but then later on, when I found Marianne Williamson and A Course in Miracles and Disappearance of the Universe by Gary Renard, I was all ready for it because they put forth a non-religious point of view in terms of what Yeshua ben Joseph as a wisdom teacher and an enlightenment teacher was talking about. And I was hooked. And I've been doing Course in Miracles. Not, I mean, I did the workbook twice, 600 pages of text, 365 days of exercises, and loved it. I actually did it 2.5 times. I am a true mystic, and I have said this so many times, it sounds ad nauseum. I will take mystical truth wherever I find it and wherever it
Yeah.
finds me. Yeah, if it's about love, and I don't mean like hippy dippy love, I might look like a hippie, but I'm unless, unless like De La Renta and Valentino have anything to do with the hippie movement, I doubt it. But definitely, my religious upbringing shaped me, but it did not forge me,
Yeah.
right?
So
Like iron on a forge. Yeah. Yeah.
in so I also had to go through like the whole confirmation song and dance because I was like, I don't believe this though. And they were like, but do you want to party? And I was like, yes. And they were like, well, then you're gonna get
Yeah.
confirmed. And so I was like, okay. Um, but that's neither here nor there. What I was gonna say though, that I think is interesting is you said it didn't forge you. Like you went through it, but it didn't necessarily forge you. So it also sounds like rather young, you had a perception of like, this isn't necessarily for me, like, or this isn't my truth. So, how did you navigate that as you aged? And like, at what point did you step into like your witchy mysticalness of it all?
Oh, well, I mean, how far you want to go back? The Magic Garden with Carol and Paula, my first coven on TV. So I'm used to doing things via like video, I guess. Then, of course, came Bewitched, and I identified way more with Serena than Samantha. I was like, how dare you give up your powers for a mortal man, right? Like these are the things that really made me a bit of a revolutionary at the time.
I related to
And then,
Andorra a lot.
yeah, well, my mother can have that Andorra vibe every now and again, right? But I'm definitely more on the Serena side of things. And then it just kept unfolding, right? And then, of course, there were comic books. Like I was very much a comic book kid. There was a place in Baldwin called the Incredible Pulp, Pulp.
That's so
And so
funny.
after school, I would drive my father crazy to bring me there. So I found out about Madame Xanadu and Zatanna and all the magic, all the magical superheroes and stuff. And I was like, all right, this is a thing I can do. So I started training myself under the sight line of my parents essentially until, and this is how I found the tarot at age 12. My parents, my mom, because my parents divorced when I was like 3 years old. My mother married her divorce lawyer. My stepfather to this day, I'm seeing them later. So 51 years. We're gonna say that one took, right? That
Yeah.
one
I
definitely
love
clicked
that
into the
story, by
brain.
the way. Every time you
Yeah,
bring
no,
it up,
I know,
like,
I
it's
know. It's
so
such a Long
charming.
Island story. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. And as a result, I call them Zeus and Hera, lightning and thunder, because their love language is bickering, and I love them for it. They're great fun. They're very smart and they're very witty, so it's just a lot of fun. So we were driving down to Key West. Now I love Key West. I haven't been there in god decades, but like we would go watch the sunset at the pier. We stayed at the pier house. But before we drove down, there was this place in Bayshore on Sunrise Highway called the Farmers Market, and it
Hmm.
was huge. It was by the mall, and there was a comic book vendor there. So I'm going through, as you do, the cardboard boxes, doing like this through the comic books. And there was a Justice League comic of Felix Faust, who was an evil necromancer, as if there were another kind
Yeah.
there.
Happens to
These
the
kinds
best of
have
us.
changed. Yeah, it's called mediumship now. It's like, oh, what an upgrade, at least for name. And it was Felix Faust attacking the Justice League with tarot cards. So the devil would leap off the devil card, right? And I was just hooked. So I had all these comic books. I'm reading it. We get to Pier One. Sorry, the Pier House, Pier One.
Pier one.
Rattan furniture flashback. Sorry, no longer exists. Pier One. Um, but so I'm reading this stuff. We get to the hotel, and the little pamphlets that they have in the drawer next to the bed. I had my own room, which was great. I open it up, and there's this little quarter page ad, and there's the word tarot.
And
I
you were like,
bothered my mom.
yes.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my God, like oh my God, it's a synchronicity. We didn't really have the word back then that
Yeah.
way. Synchronicity was an album from the Police. That's about as much as I knew as a teenager about synchronicity.
We love it.
So I hounded my mother for a week to take me there. Now I could have walked there, but I didn't have the money. I was a kid, right? I
Yeah.
was like maybe 12 years old. So finally she's like, oh, I wore her down, which is a Virgo thing, where the element mutable earth, sand. I wore her down like a sandstorm. And so she took me there, but she wouldn't go in. She was like, I don't want to go in there. You go in there yourself. Here's $30. So I went in and I got my first Rider Waite tarot
I
and
love
Eileen
that. Here's
Connolly's.
$30. I'm not
Uh,
going in.
yeah, she's like, I'm not going in there. Well, angels rush in, I guess, in that case. So I walked out of there with Eileen Connolly's tarot handbook, new handbook for the apprentice, and I read it all the way back home. And we stopped and saw family, and I started reading family members like right out of the book, and the look of shock on their face was just it hooked. I was just hooked.
Yeah.
So very, very much so. And then, of course, I went back to school after that break, brought my tarot cards with me. So I was the hit at every birthday party for years. I went to a private school on Long Island,
Oh
the
my
Hewitt School of East Islip no longer exists, thank God. The place was a nightmare.
God.
But it was a day one. It wasn't a sleepover thing. We got to go home. We got on our little buses and went home. But then, then the show business called. So, I mean, this is all part of what got me here. So I went to USDAN in Wheatley Heights for performing arts for 3 summers. I went to the Bosse's Cultural Arts Center in Syosset. I went to the Boston Conservatory of Music, Dance, and Theater, where I essentially majored in drugs, which was good. And I walked away in a red hot second, like that. I was out of show business and deep into my mystical path. LSD and Ouija boards. I mean, just nuts. It was nuts. I read cards in, well, at the time, I'm sure these nightclubs don't exist anymore, but the Hub Club, Venus de Milo, and Axis on Lansdowne Street in Boston.
Mal,
And I saw the underworld.
if you ever write another book, I mean, I'm sure you will, but can you write one at least called LSD and Ouija boards? Can that be one of your books? Because chef's kiss that title.
I still have all the notations from that because I wasn't just doing that by myself. I had 2 female friends. Interestingly enough, a Virgo and a Pisces. I'm a Virgo with a Pisces moon. So 2 of us would work the planchette and the third one would write down the letters. And I still have
Oh,
them in notebooks downstairs in my office.
so you could
So,
actually write a
like,
book.
I will produce a book. There will be a book eventually.
Ooh, I
Yeah,
like
oh,
this idea.
absolutely. I mean, I've already written 2, but they're very teachy. But I really want to write the autobiography of my career because it seriously, my resume reads like science fiction fantasy. Like I worked for Starborn Unlimited. So every time you see 1111, just be like, oh, Mal, I'm so sorry you had to endure that. It was nuts. I was her personal assistant. I traveled all over the United States doing, solo as well as what they used to call angelic reunions. We would go to ski places, like places to go ski in the summer, and then we would go to the beach hotels in the winters because you get better deals and stuff
Better
like
rates.
that.
Yeah.
And I really, 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 I mean, there's so much more in there. I worked at Body, Mind, and Soul in Huntington, the first fast food new age
So
place
wait,
ever. It was
question.
nuts. And Pillars of Light in Huntington. Yeah, go ahead.
How did you I mean, you kind of came into witchcraft in like the witchy 90s, right? Like that was when your blooming of that happened.
I'd say the 80s. I'd say the 80s, but I became the high priest of a coven in the 90s, one of the largest, the solitaries of the Silver Broom. 20 years plus, I was the high priest of that.
Okay, so then so we're going with the 80s then. We're going to step back 10 years really quick. Then like when
Okay, let's go back.
back, way back. So when you are reading cards, how do you get from cards to witchcraft? Because like they are definitely related, but they're not necessarily related.
Well, honestly, I think the witchcraft came first because I was reading Earth Power by Scott Cunningham at like
Ah,
age
Scott
13.
Cunningham.
Yeah, I mean, B. Dalton bookstore in the South Shore Mall in the occult section don't exist anymore. But yeah, no, I'm a voracious reader because the thing is, I would always, my mom had us 3 weekends out of the month for visitation because of the divorce and all of that. So I would whenever I would ask her, Mom, what does this mean? She'd say, Go look it up. She'd teach me, nursery school teacher, but she'd always say, go look it up yourself. I don't think she regrets it now, but I think at the time she might have. She's like, I should stop telling him to look things up because I would go to the Bayshore Brightwaters library and get out books on the occult, great big, huge like books, and I'd be reading it. Are you doing your homework? Yeah, I lied.
Sort of,
I
in a
lied.
way.
Yeah. I mean, and I would get catalogs from Anna Riva, and I don't know if there was a store in Freeport called for Anna Riva botanical products. So like, I was, I don't like the word obsessed, drawn,
Yeah,
so
compelled.
drawn to magical. Yeah, yeah, right, to the mystical arts, to magic in general. I knew putting a K on the end differentiated it from like sleight of hand stuff, right? Like magician tricks and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's
Stage
very
magic.
amazing. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I made moon cakes according to Scott Cunningham's recipes. I would sneak downstairs and like make cornmeal, like crescent cookies or whatever. And I really became very good at potion magic. And that's my gig. That's the thing. I am a potion witch big time. Like I can
Yeah.
make a cocktail that you're like, is there alcohol in this? And the next thing you know, you're like seeing triple vision, all
You're
three eyes
sauced.
activating at once. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, I my patron god and my matron goddess claimed me while I was in Boston. Dionysus, I have literally a grapevine pentacle tattooed on my shoulder cap here, and Diana, because of course the Wonder Woman influence.
Yeah. And I was
Is my makeup god.
I wasn't
People
sure if
once
when you popped on earlier if I was gonna see the Wonder Woman in the chair or not. Because sometimes
yeah,
you
right. No, wait, let me get her. Hold on. Come here, Diana. Now, this is the Godot version. We were waiting for Godot. I don't think we're going to be
gorge.
waiting for her again. Kala, no.
That's okay. I love Wonder Woman.
And
She's great.
well, and the best thing about being a Generation X witch is we really don't give a fuck. We really don't. We're just like, you don't like me? That's okay. There are only like 8 billion other people on the planet that might.
Yeah,
So
I think that that's a gift in general that comes with age. Like, I think it's just something that eventually you get to a point where you're like, I don't care anymore. I just don't, you know, like love me,
your
hate
opinion,
me, whatever. Your opinion is none of my
Your
business.
opinion says more about you than it does about me. And
Yeah.
that's why I've had such a long career. I don't take myself so fucking seriously. I think that's really important. The ego will take spirituality and make itself special. I'm like, I'm not special. I'm sacred. We
Yeah.
all are.
I love
And
that.
that's why my studies continue. Like look, I did my time in the new age. Boy, did I do my time in the new age. But like my first retail job in the new age was working in a crystal store. This is across from Arsenic and Old Lace on Mass Ave in Porter Square. So I learned about all of this stuff, and I still have a lot of those stones back from the 80s because I don't throw out crystals, honey. Maybe I'll plant them in the ground, but I don't throw them out. But as a result of all of that, I have become a translator of things that people consider new age, like when you start talking quantum fields and stuff like that, to be able to translate that in a way where pagans can hear it,
Mm.
particularly witches. Like I love universal law, but there's more than the law of attraction, folks. There are hundreds of universal laws.
So I have this thought that I've been playing with lately, and maybe you can shed some light on this for me. I found that when you talk about how kind of like magic or spirit or like that type of a stuff can actually be traced in like a scientific way, do you find that that puts people off? Why do you think that
I,
is,
I
if
don't
so?
I don't well because they want it to be ooh, life itself is whoa. So
Right.
to ground yourself in something that has some scientific principle to it, and quantum physics is not new. Like if people think it just happened last year, no. I
Yeah.
mean, we've been quantum. The word quantum means the smallest quantity of something possible. So this is also, of course, brought into unity consciousness and A Course in Miracles, and we're all one. But I'm not very much a Link Pinks, we are the world, we are the children kind of person. I'm like, no, I live alone with three black cats. I have a half acre of property, right? I work from home. I take clients. I do my own thing. But, I'm not a very kumbaya kind of witch,
Yeah.
right? And I haven't had to hex or curse somebody in a really long time. Protection and defense is one thing.
Yeah.
Attack is different. Because I survived witch wars. We always won the coven or myself, like anybody who comes to me, it's like I have a psychic immune system will bounce this shit back at you so fast it'll give you a migraine. So, it's just been a very, very long journey. I am 57 years old. People are like, why do you tell people your age? I'm like, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? I don't look it.
Yeah. Have you seen me?
Now
I
a
look great.
warning.
Now a
Not until the
warning.
last now, right? Retinol, collagen, not injections. I only do topical. I and I might as well out myself now. I'm a true top. I get penetrated under protest. Like I don't even like getting vaccinations or anything like that. It's like, nope, Virgo power, cross your legs, clench. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. You're not doing that today. If you can't give me a pill or an elixir, listen to me. How apothecary is that, right? A little sublingual this or that, right? Like, yeah, I'll do Mullen to clean out my lungs. I actually have a really good
Oh, I love
plant-based
Mullen.
immune. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's so being a witch has educated me in so many different ways, but being a gay witch really got me comfortable with the idea of being somewhat part of a counterculture, that I
Mm.
wasn't here to conform. I learned about lemmings very young, right?
I think that,
Lemmings towards the cliff, running towards the cliff,
yeah.
off the cliff because everybody's going that way. I'm like, nah, yeah, not without a parachute. Not gonna happen.
I think that it's funny you phrase it that way about being like a gay witch and how that helped you embrace counterculture. Because I think probably similar for me. I mean, I think also queer people in general are forced very young to kind of assess where they belong in the world. There's like this scanning that is inherent in queer people that is not in straight people because it doesn't need to be in straight people. They're the world is built for them, so
Yeah.
they don't need to think about it. Um, but I, yeah, I think that my witchness, it did not influence my relationship to counterculture, but it like amplified it, right? Like it wasn't the thing that made me counterculture. But once I realized that that's where I was squarely sitting, I was like, oh, well, just double down. Double, double, toil and trouble, bring the broom, let's make it double. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I'll have a double. Whatever you do. I came out of the closet at a Halloween party at my mom's house. Not to them, but to myself. I literally was in a closet in my bedroom and there was something going on my bed. And I was like, oh, just fucking do it. I have the fool card in my life on the regular. And then a week later, I told my parents, I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm gay.
and were they
And
like,
my
duh?
mom, well, we were at Chi Chi's. Does Chi Chi's still exist as a
I don't,
restaurant chain? Like,
I've
I don't know
definitely
if it
been
still
to
exists.
one, but I don't know if it's still a
Yeah.
thing.
So I told them at dinner, it was my stepfather, my mother, and I. And my mom said, oh, honey, I knew since you were 4 years old. And I was 14, maybe 13, 14 at the time. Yeah, a sophomore year in high school. Yeah, yeah, that was the two. I think, whatever, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So my work in this world is really about serving the divine through the material world. And since we're all, I don't even like the word connected, we are all part of the divine. But I am also watching people take that and watching their egos take over. I am divine. I'm like, unless this is a John Waters reference, I don't know that I'm completely with you on that. Pretty pretty. No, oh come on, John Waters shaped me in
He
my
was
20s,
everything.
baby.
Yeah. I mean,
Still
yeah.
is.
I,
And I'm only two people removed from him. I love the 6 degrees of separation.
oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah,
love John Waters. Um,
yeah.
what was I gonna say? Yeah, I agree that we are all like one thing. We are all like an amorphous being experiencing itself from a million different perspectives. But like, I, yeah, people do get caught up in that whole like, I think labeling is helpful, but I think over identifying with any one label is harmful.
Agreed. Because the ego wants to be special, which means separate. I'm better than. But then it has to go through the opposite side of that as less than. Where if you just get, oh, my ego is just adapting to a new personality to make itself special, that it can be very, very painful when that illusion is broken. So I've been through enough dark nights of the soul, and I mean real like Saint John of the Cross dark nights of the soul, because I'll study Saint Teresa, I will study mystical truth wherever I find it. But I've really been transformed so many times that I can't take myself so seriously, not out of fear of punishment from my gods or anything like that, but because I know better. And
Yeah.
that's the thing about witchcraft. Is it would we consider witchcraft a good definition, the craft of the wise?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. Now, I love using cooking as an example. I can watch Food Network all day, every day. I will have knowledge. But until I put blowtorch to sugar, I do not have creme brulee wisdom. That comes from experience. So knowledge plus experience equals wisdom. And I'm a water witch. You don't want to give me a blowtorch anyway. No, no. I've got big ladders. That's about as close as I get to like
That's so funny.
candles, right?
I
So
also,
that's the thing. We all have to go through that spiritual ego thing where we want to be better than. But then what heals us of that is when we experience the less than and realize none of this is true. I
yeah.
am I am an aspect of source. I am from source. I am with source. I am as source, but that doesn't make me source.
Yeah.
Right? It's like
Capital S
I have a very
source.
close relation. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a lovely relationship with my pantheons of the divine. They're not exclusive to any one particular genetic patterning, but because I have Sicilian DNA and Sicily was such a major port in the Mediterranean,
You
I
like the
can
Hellenistic
relate.
stuff.
Yes, I love the Hellenistic stuff. I mean, the Egyptian stuff, it's interesting to me, but it's a little bit more like algebra, and it hurts my head, some of it, right? You know, as soon as you start bringing numbers, well, that's why that's why you're now a team member on Patreon, so you can teach that stuff. It's like, ow! Stop with the math. Ow, angle, cookie in the third eye, not into it. I'm definitely more of a visceral, emotional person that way. And I have a good intellect, obviously. I'm verbal as fuck.
Yeah.
But you're probably going to have to bleep some of these words out, by the way, for
Oh, it's
YouTube.
okay.
Um, yeah, but I'm really, really, really enjoying my journey. I don't look my age. I have a healthy relationship with my parents. I would like an award for that, please. But I think the award is you have a healthy relationship with your parents.
I was
That's
gonna
the
say
thing,
that might be the biggest reward of all. Um,
right? Because then I know I don't have to project my shit onto the people I date. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, yeah. Thank the gods for that.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know,
not your daddy.
you know what is interesting is that you said people want to feel special. And I think that's true, but also I think that part of what you have to realize when you're in that space of like I want to feel special or I'm in the feeling of specialness is that if you're special, everyone else is special, which means everything is special and nothing is special because the universe
It's like
exists
The
in
Incredibles.
paradox.
Yeah, it's like the movie The Incredibles, right? Where then
Mhm.
everybody has superpowers and nobody's super. But the Course in Miracles says point blank, special means separate. You're holy. But people get triggered by that word holy, right? Because of
Mhm.
religious upbringings and like holy relics, which still makes it seem separate. It's like, well, this tooth isn't holy, but this one came out of the head of a saint, so this one is. It's like, who's determining that?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I prefer the word sacred. Like, I don't need another special relationship. It means it's you. You're the person. You're the one for me. Oh, we're all the one. We're
Yeah.
all connected. So I'm not looking for another special relationship so I can put someone up on a pedestal and knock them down while I'm still single. I want a sacred relationship, one where there is resonance of soul and purpose and values and desires. And honestly, I've been okay. Now I'm gonna mention them. At times, I know most pagans are like, oh no, new age stuff. They're geniuses, the two of them together. I've studied so much with them over the past year, brain game, mastering the universal laws. I'm almost done with the quantum expansion.
Oh,
A
Matt and
lot
Joy
of it is
Khan.
pre-recorded videos. Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, I love them. I love Matt and Joy Con so much. And I'm not that kind of student that has to meet the teacher. I learned my lesson through Solara and Silver Raven Wolf. I was a member of Black Forest Clan for a hot second there. That's how I got my original ordination. But now I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need to idolize anyone.
Yeah. I think
Nor
so.
nor do I desire to be idolized.
I think that it's really it is hard to like when you have the opportunity to meet your teacher or meet someone that really changes you because like I was working with somebody that really deepened my practice around breath work not that long
Mhm.
ago and um they ended up being how do I say this delicately like not of integrity. I'll say that. They ended up being like not of integrity. And that was a real challenge for me because I was like, but you told us this. You told us to behave this way. Like you told us to behave in integrity. Why are you not acting in integrity? Like my little like my brain was like short circuiting at it all happening. But yeah, I think that it is good to like not necessarily meet your teachers or stuff like that. But I think also I I think there is an aspect of it where sometimes that is good. And it's not about necessarily raising anyone above you or anything like that. But I think that sometimes an in-person experience with somebody is just like second to none. And I say like these are two hermits talking about in-person experiences. We are I can acknowledge this,
Yeah.
but but like I think there is something really magical about being in community and being in like direct or close contact with another human person, especially when you're doing like
Absolutely.
magical workings and stuff like that.
Well, the thing is I've been working with the frequency of, because it's all quantum, blah, blah, blah. We're all one. But to actually feel that in my body, it's like I don't have that many wants and needs left, but I do have desires that come from the heart. And to me, that's part of my mission, to fulfill the
Mm.
heart's desires, not what I need or what I want, because that indicates lack. And if you're whole, WHOLE, just to clarify, which whole we're talking about here, then there is no lack,
Yeah.
and that means there's no lack in me, but I am on a journey of unfolding and evolving and all that stuff. I'm like this with the word ascension, because that means different things to different people. I mean, the rapture was supposed to happen, and I don't know, they still seem to be here.
Oh,
So,
I know.
I'm a little dodgy with that stuff. I'm like, all right, whatever. Good for you. Oh, you're still here. I guess you didn't make the cut. Like it's chorus line.
God, I hope I get it. Um, but
When will my body be freed? Oh my God, musical theater kid. Mm.
I I like the term ascension because I think, I mean, I don't use it in the same context as like maybe some fanatical people, let's say. Um, but I like using ascension because I think as long as you're moving forward, you're moving towards something. So
Yeah.
I think that
I
we're always kind of, I don't think we ever truly escape patterns. We just respond to them differently. And like that refinement and that like stripping away of like the ego around certain patterns is a form of ascension. But I think that like the way people use that sometimes, like I've heard people say like ascension symptoms. I say that sometimes. Like if if you're going through some type of a processing or whatever, or the universe is processing something through you sometimes, like it just your body responds. But I don't necessarily think of it in the biblical kind of rapturous
yeah,
sense of ascension.
I prefer the word evolution because there's always a next stage. There's certainly enough, I don't know if you want to call it evidence, but discussion and conversation about this world being like a video game, right? The Matrix and
Hmm.
all that kind of stuff. And I do know that, like, because okay, like I had an Atari. I played Pong as a kid on the TV. That's how old I am. So the idea of having to beat a boss on the level in order to get to the next level, that is a good metaphor. That's like a good archetypal lens to look at this world. I don't know if it is a video game or if it's a movie we're just watching. Course in Miracles does say you are watching what has already gone by because time is an illusion, blah, blah, blah. But I
It
also
feels
know
like
that
that sometimes.
it really does feel that way.
And when I
And then,
experience
yeah,
that, sometimes I'm like, am I dissociating right now? What's happening? Like is
you
because
start EFTing yourself with little
yeah, I'm
bruises
like
on
I
your
am in
face.
the
Yeah,
body. I am in the body. I'm not the body, but I am in the body.
yeah, in
And
the
like
body, right?
there are times where it just feels very weird. Like I'm like, is this? It does feel like I'm watching myself sometimes.
Well, and that's where we have higher selves, our essential minds, right? That know better, that are outside of time and space, essentially coming from above the head in the eighth chakra. And a lot of my work personally, like stuff that doesn't get digitally contentedized, whatever that you want to call that, that has really kept me going. And really, the brain game, mastering the brain game, Matt and Joy Kahn, it taught me how to regulate my nervous system without chemicals by changing my biochemicals, by understanding there's a cycle of divine timing, know what part of the cycle that you're in, and then act accordingly or rest, right? So I've
Yeah.
gotten more out of rest and repose than fight or flight this past year. And as a result, my career has blossomed. I moved to Saratoga a little over 2 years ago. Had to, like, I was the new witch on the block. Nobody knew who I was. And the first year was tricky, it was very, very tricky. But now I am prospering and I'm serving and I'm not worrying. The word worry means to wear away, like a
Yeah.
worry stone. So, like, it doesn't mean that worry doesn't come up, but I know it's like,
My little
okay,
worry stone.
yeah, yeah, right. It's
It
like,
started
okay,
like this.
that, yeah, right, yeah. Now it's the size of my boop boop on my keychain. Um, but that's the thing. I have learned a lot about the nervous system in this past year. The sympathetic nervous system, which Matt and Joy call the T-Rex brain, teeny tiny little brain, huge destructive power. And the parasympathetic nervous system, the dolphin brain, great big huge brain, just wants to swim and have fun, rest and repose. And that has made all the difference in the world. So for the pagans and the witches out there, you know, usually most witches are pagans, although, you know, we don't want to overclassify things, that if you are drawn to something that is outside of the magical with a K, right? Or outside of the ancient esoteric stuff, something that is new, do understand that there are new frequencies coming into this world that have never been here before. Maybe they were before the fall of the dimensional blah blah blah, right? Right. I've studied sacred geometry. I've done all that, you know, brainy stuff. And it's like, you know what, love is the answer. But for someone born on a full moon in Pisces, that tracks, right? So I've got the intellect, 4 planets, second house in Virgo, Leo rising, Mars conjunct Leo rising, Pisces moon. This is what I came in to do in this life. And I know you, I, and our beloved Christopher have certainly traveled this planet together in all different ways, probably as from nunneries to brothels and back again.
I love those days.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, you had to watch out for, you know, the diseases. Yeah, and we still do, but you know,
Yeah,
it's a little different, you know.
different.
Anyway, get bitten by the wrong rat and you're dead. So, you know, the plague and all of that. So I'm really glad that we have the freedom and the liberty to do stuff like this.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm out
yeah.
of closet. All of my closets have clothes in them now, right? Like there's no place to hide in them. There's no need to go into them except for what shall I wear today? And
Yeah.
I'm wearing red because
You
I
look great
said
in red, by
red.
the way.
Well, I learned that if you like do that, you make a fist and you see what color is in your knuckles, that's your undertone color. So it's like blue, yellow, green, red, you know,
Hmm.
the essentially the primary colors. What?
Okay.
So what color you got there?
I'm like a tawny peach. Some
Great drag name. Great killer drag name.
coming to
Tawny
the
Pete.
stage, Tawny Peach. Yeah, we love that.
And do we
Uh,
dare talk about our adventure coming up in May? Or should we save that for when Christopher is here?
oh, we can. You mean the what I'm going to be teaching, or
Oh,
our
well,
thing? Oh, no, 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 something else. You're talking about to Trixie and Katya. Yeah,
yes, in
yeah, yeah,
Boston. Oh my God. Oh, we're gonna meet that way for the first time face to face. That's the coolest thing ever.
yeah.
And I
That's
would have never, ever, ever thought that the avenues opening to me would have even existed, right? And a lot of that is because of the connection you, me, and Christopher have. Christopher Brideau, my art director, he's a genius. I love him, and he's so much fun. And our 2 a.m. Zoom calls are just everything. I love them.
they're
And
yeah, they're
and in the
hilarious,
words of
and Christopher is such a force. That's the word I'll use for him. He's a
force
force of nature.
majeure, yeah, yeah. So in the words of the great divine, you got to have friends. The feeling's oh so strong. I have a very strong connection to Bette Midler. She saved my life when I was a teenager, and she doesn't know. I hope someday, if I don't get to tell her, somebody will.
If
Somebody
I get
will.
to meet her,
1984.
I
Yeah,
absolutely will.
1984. Yeah, I just
I
wanted to, and all you know, I'm not what they call a star fucker. Like I don't care how famous you are, but if I ever like walked into an elevator and she was there, all I'd want to say is just thank you. And if she says what for, then I'll tell her. You
yeah.
saved my life because it was the detour, DE space TOUR, 1983. I was still in high school. And when she came out twirling those big tit balloons and mermaid in wheelchair, I was like, if she there was it was visceral. It was like if she can get away with that, I'm gonna be fine.
I'm gonna be
Because
fine.
well, because in the 80s, you really took your life into your hands being gay or being different, right? It's like there was no video cams anywhere to like catch any criminal activity.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I had my parents who really understood me, a solid group of friends. And honestly, being a witch is just, you want to talk archetypal dynamics. I have the witch archetype lifelong. You can have an archetype, a reason, a season, or a lifetime. I've been a witch since I'm born. I mean, born on a full moon. Come on.
Also born on
Come
a full
on.
moon. Sun in Scorpio, moon in Gemini.
Fabulous. And the thing is my mom, I got to remember, I was born in 1968. So this is the story I grew up with. Well, my mom was antsy. That was the word that my mom used. And so she got tranquilizers from her doctor. They went to a Labor Day weekend party. My mom got back, felt a little antsy, took took the pills and went into labor. So I was like, hey y'all. I came in like no pain. Like I even did rebirthing for years. I was like, no, it wasn't about the actual birth because I was drugged at the time. Thank you very much. I was just like, hey, look at the pretty colors. This is great. Oh, did someone smack me? I'll smack your shit back someday. Karma's a witch. So anything, so I want to say to your audience is that, absolutely take your path as it comes, right? Learn, grow, evolve, but don't take yourself so seriously. Like the humor of this world. Sometimes I get to levels of consciousness, whatever you want to call it, where I look down at the world and I go, this is ridiculously
This is
funny.
silly.
We're right. It's like we're all one, but we're like beating the crap out of each other. This is not it. And that's why I don't think it's going to be lasting that way for much longer. And as far as the new age, the age of Aquarius and all of that stuff, just let it unfold by taking the next step, right? I learned a lot about universal law studying with Matt and Joy, mastering the universal laws. And there is this mantra that keeps coming back to me because they gave us mantras for them, which is great, is that I choose devotion over perfection. I trust in the power of steady love.
Hmm.
So what's the next thing? Oh, scoop the litter. Because sometimes like, what do you want me to do now? Guides, gods, whoever. And they're like, go scoop kitty litter. I'm like, okay. And then I do it with a sense of devotion, not, oh shit, I gotta do this now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel that way about everything I do, more or
That's a
less.
really good litmus test for how to like reposition things in your brain, right? Like ask your guides and then do it with devotion. I think that's a great,
Yeah,
even if you
yeah.
don't do
And I
any, even if you have nothing else that you're plugging into, that is a very powerful tool, I
yeah.
think.
Because unfortunately, when universal laws came through The Secret and Abraham Hicks and all that stuff, they always focused on laws of manifestation. And so people are like, oh, I have to keep my high vibe. And what happened? A lot of suppression. But then what came up through the pandemic? Shadow
Shadow
work,
work.
as though it was new. I was like, oh no, honey, forever young, right? I want
Yeah.
that written on my tombstone. Well, I really would like a full building, a mausoleum, what have you, right? It's like Leo Rising. Just a little stone ain't gonna do it unless it's quartz or something, right? So, I'm taking my journey with a nice, because humor and humility go hand in hand.
Yeah, I agree with
That,
that.
yeah, humility, not humiliation, but knowing that you don't know, right? Like how I'm able to make my pentacle rise onto my chest like that. It's because it's got a counterweight and back that I can reach.
Do you
Yoga.
flexi bendy. Um do you, so wait, you said something really interesting before we were caught up in your pentacle. It was something about um humor and humility. And I
Oh,
think
well, the grace of humility is what I call the maiden grace. There's the maiden, the mother, and the crone grace. Grant me the maiden grace of humility to know that I do not know, but I am willing to be shown.
that's
And that allows you to open instead of contract and get so serious about stuff. Because you're not going to know something until it's time to know it. It's just how it works. But whatever is right in front of you is where devotion lies. It's right there, right here, right now.
what I was gonna say is I think that when I got my master's degree in social work, that was when I kind of came to the realization of like the more I knew, the less I knew. Like the more knowledge, like actual workable wisdom and knowledge you acquire, it almost feels like you the less you know. And you're like, how is it that I'm so small in this big world? And then that's a fun question. But also, and every time not every time we talk, we end up here. But I'm gonna say something that I know I've said to you many times before. So how do you distinguish about how do you make what's your heads or tails on free will?
Uh,
Because
well,
I
I
think
go
free
back.
will is an illusion that needs to exist for the game to work properly. But I don't think we actually have any.
Well, I always go back when because I get asked this question a lot. It's like a video game. Once you're in the game, the codes are set. So if you think of like, a single player like walking through a dungeon or whatever, and you come to a crossroads, well, the codes are written for every direction, but you have the free will to choose which direction you want to go in that moment, but it's all scripted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's all programmed, if you will. So you're going to end up where you're supposed to be anyway. But I find the quality of those choices and decisions depends on, are you doing this out of fear or are you doing this out of love? Is this fight or flight or is it rest and repose? Are you following your gut? Are you following your guides? Or are you just doing something because you're terrified of not doing something? And
Yeah.
that's why sometimes stop, reset, take a nap, drink some water, eat an apple, do what you got to do, maybe some yoga, some breath work, whatever works, and then you will know when it's time to know. But I grew up in New York. I am a New Yorker. I've lived
Yeah.
other places, but I'm a New Yorker. And DNA, both sides of my family is hurry, hurry. That's what I call that pattern when it comes in. I've named it. I'm like, oh, hello, hurry. This is fight or flight. I know this feeling. I know these biochemicals. So I'm going to go take a nap, right? Or
Yeah.
I'm going to go watch a video, or I'm going to, do something like scoop litter, chop wood, scoop litter. I don't chop wood that much, though, that much anymore. But I have no regrets whatsoever about my
Absolutely
path.
no regrets. Yeah.
No regrets whatsoever. Um, and it's such a high for me to teach, to read, to help, to serve, that I know my alignment that way. I know how it feels in my body. So I could have been a lawyer, right? I could have been in my stepfather's firm, dead. I had this the money I would have if because I wouldn't have like dealt with my addiction. So all that money coming in, I would have probably sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I could have stayed in show business, dead. Right? Doesn't matter. I modeled for a while, dead. Right? I've looked into all of those other timelines, and it's like, no, this is the one. I'll take this one. Purple haired witch. I'm good. This is fine. And when you come to my house, which you will,
Yes.
in May, when we go to Boston, you would be like, "You manage all this?" I'm like, "Yeah, with a little magic, miracles, and mysticism every single day." And I have a good life. Like
Yeah.
I could have never imagined that. I never thought I would move to Saratoga Springs. I wanted to move to the Bahamas, but hurricanes and all of that. We don't get hurricanes. We're in a mountain valley here, so
Yeah.
hurricanes not
But
so
you get
much. A
snow.
lot of fucking snow. Yeah, a lot of snow, like 6 feet, like 2 inches. It feels like some days. So that's the thing. Any plan that I ever made never really went the way I thought it would, because the gods will make you pivot. They're like, okay, you needed to go through that to learn this, right? Like I walked away from the Boston Conservatory because I was understanding what the ego was and how there's nothing but ego there. And it just
Yeah.
like that, walked away from it all. But I retained all the skills. Like I love public speaking, obviously, right? I am terrible as right. I'm Mercury conjunct Venus and Libra third house. So people are like, yeah, I got a chatterbox. I can absolutely. But I also developed the ability to hold space and listen.
We love it.
Takes both. Takes both.
So I like to keep these at around an hour, and we're about to hit the hour mark. So I would say
Okay.
leave us with a moment of enlightenment, and then we'll both wave goodbye to the camera, and then I'll say goodbye to you off camera.
Okay. To quote from the divine, make sure that your life is a rare entertainment. It doesn't take anything drastic. You needn't be gorgeous or wealthy or smart, just very enthusiastic. From the Saga of Baby Divine by Bette Midler. Okay. I have two copies hardcover downstairs in my library.
I
So,
love.
yeah, you gotta take your goddesses where you find them, particularly when they find you. Okay, okay, okay.
Yes. Oh, I second that. Okay,
Yeah.
say goodbye to everyone now. And thank you for coming, Mal, by the way.
Oh, my pleasure. And I'll always be here for you when I can, if I can.
Yeah. All right, bye
And
everyone.
thank you, everybody, for watching. Bye. Have a good day. Bye.